AITA for yelling at a mom and her kid to get out of my home? A few months ago, I, 28F, started a new D&D campaign and invited a few friends. One of them, Sarah, asked if her friend Ann could join. And as a mom who doesn't get many chances to hang out with adults, so I agreed, even though I knew she might be flaky due to childcare responsibilities. I asked and if she could attend at least the first few sessions to get familiar with the game, and she agreed. She then proceeded to cancel, mostly last minute, every proposed first session for the next 2 months. I told her I'm sorry, but if she can't make it to the next proposed session, she won't be in long campaigns, still welcome to join one-shots. She apologized and said she'll make it. She made it. But brought her toddler without asking. As soon as they came, the kid needed to use the bathroom. He made a mess since he can't fully use an adult toilet yet. I told him that's fine but asked her to clean it up. This surprised her and she started being a bit on edge. We finally sat down at the table and the kid started running around, looking for things to do. I was a bit stressed out by this. And noticed and put him in her lap. But now the kid was at the table, which was covered in mini figurines, dice, pretty pictures, and maps, most being a choking hazard, along with glasses of various drinks. The kid started fussing about wanting to play with them. I was telling and no because it's not safe. She told me he's gentle and doesn't put stuff in his mouth. We bickered while her kid was throwing a tantrum. After the kid knocked over a glass, I loudly asked her to step out into the backyard and calm him down a bit while I make the table safer. She did, visibly embarrassed, and I removed everything except for plain-looking papers, pens and paper cups. I also did my best to calm down as this entire thing stressed me out to hell and back at this point. They came back and things were fine for a minute. That is, until my dog came out of my bedroom to drink water. Now, I don't have many house rules, but I have one that's important: ignore the dog. They were informed of that before coming over. The kid spotted her and yelled "doggy," and put him down to say hi. He made a full-speed beeline at my dog while making grabbing motions and yelling. I stopped him by stepping out in front of him. He ran into me, fell down and started crying. And started screaming at me. I screamed back, and very swiftly told her to get the F out of my home. Sarah was annoyed and told us it took them an hour and a half to get to me, then went with and since they carpooled. The rest stayed. It was awkward for half an hour or so, but we ended up having fun and they even stayed for the night. I then woke up to the local FB groups and people's Instagram stories calling me a controlling jerk, saying I'm discriminating against various players, being too strict and have a dangerous dog. To add insult to injury, Sarah, who I've been friends with for years, is not speaking to me. Update. I heard back from Sarah and got more info, which some of you might like. Sarah and used to be a part of a friend group that started in high school. And became insufferable when she got pregnant, not wanting to talk about anything else and putting everyone else down, i.e. someone would talk about their problem and she would roll her eyes and say it's nothing compared to a mom problem. So after a while the group started arguing, avoiding each other and eventually fell apart. After 2 years of crippling loneliness and reached out to Sarah, apologized, and told her she changed and wanted to make new friends. Sarah met a lot of people through me, so she told Ann to try as well. Ann's husband was supposed to watch their kid but got called into work last minute. Ann thought she'd be basically excommunicated if she cancelled. She wouldn't be, she would still be invited to other social events, just not D&D campaigns, and begged Sarah to let her bring the kid, promising he's well behaved. Sarah was acting strange because she and her husband are considering kids and the entire Ann situation terrified her. She ended up apologizing to me. I took your advice on handling the social media situation, thank you, and posted my side of the story. I first posted a screenshot of the message all new guests get, that includes the 3 rules. 1. No shoes, slippers are provided. 2. Don't give yourself a tour, don't go into random rooms by yourself. 3. Ignore the dog. If someone asked, I'd give them a nice explanation. Followed by disclosing why each crap talker got kicked out of a campaign. Here are some highlights for your entertainment. Accusation: called me an ableist who kicked him out for his ADHD. My response: he was kicked out for refusing to track anything, including his character, and playing on his phone during other players' turns in combat. Accusation: being weird and controlling about my dog. My response: she was caught trying to lure said dog with chocolate-covered pretzels on 3 separate occasions. Accusation: railroading and micromanaging roleplay. My response: he repeatedly tried to make the roleplay sexual without the consent of the rest of the table. Accusation: being an exclusionary bigot. My response: ironically, he was homophobic, which you don't get to be at a lesbian's table. Anyways, all is well now. The campaign goes on. And many more will follow. To clarify the dog thing, since most people asked about it in the original post. The dog rule is in place for a lot of reasons, but in short, she doesn't like being touched by everyone, and while she would tolerate it like a champ, being expected to constantly tolerate unwanted contact in her own home would be unfair and stress her out, reducing her quality of life. Not every dog wants to greet and get scratched by every rando. Most dogs don't, in fact. And her breed standard is literally being aloof and reserved with strangers. I used to have rules on how to interact with my previous dog. They started out as short and simple: let him approach first and don't feed table food, but I added to them every time someone did something dumb/disrespectful, i.e. punished him, until the list was too long. Also, people who insist they're great with dogs and animals love them would constantly argue with me about the rules, push them or ignore them, which lead to serious and expensive incidents. After the incidents, I threw those rules out and introduced the blanket ignore the dog. It was easier to enforce, less people argued about it, and there were no more incidents. Further clarifications based on common comments. And brought toys: the toys were just a bit dull and boring. I don't vet people much because 90% are decent, and it's easier to kick out those who aren't than to drag everyone through the mud so they can join the club. My friends didn't think I'm a jerk, those were acquaintances, I don't need new friends. The Facebook group admins quickly took down the hateful comments and contacted me to inform me of them, so this mostly happened over Instagram stories in the end.